So to get started, let me begin by saying thank you. Thank you so much for joining me today with Yakov Smart, the creator of the Connect and Profit System. And he's also an author called Disrupting LinkedIn. And today he's with us to talk about how to add 6 figures or more to your revenue by building your referral network. And I'm Linda Fisk. I'm the CEO of LeadHERship Global, and I am absolutely thrilled to welcome each and every one of you to the program today. Now, for any of you that are not yet members, let me just note that LeadHERship Global is absolutely the most impactful community of extraordinary women in the world. We unleash the full potential of high-performing and growth-oriented leaders in a confidential, supportive, and uplifting community. LeadHERship Global helps members accelerate their success by defining their vision, growing their leadership, expanding their influence, and leaving a lasting legacy. So if you're interested in learning more about this remarkable community of women leading across business, entertainment, and politics, then please reach out. Now let's talk about today's 90-minute workshop. Today, you're going to learn how to build your referral network so you can add 6 figures or more to your revenue. Yakov Smart will be sharing the powerful system that he's personally used to grow his business from 0 to multiple 6 figures. This workshop is going to give you the strategies and tools that you can use to attract more of your ideal clients. It's going to be incredibly powerful, and I would encourage all of you to take notes. Here's what you're going to learn today. Number 1, how to attract all the clients you want without marketing or lead gen. 2, how to find limitless referral sources of your ideal clients in 45 days or less. And 3, he's going to show you the proven system for adding 6 figures or more to your revenue by attracting your ideal dream clients, even if you're just getting started. Now, this workshop is your opportunity to learn how to build your referral network, and we'll have time to answer some of your personal questions during the training as well. So please take notes, pay attention, and know that you'll be receiving this recording afterwards too as a resource. Now, let me tell you just a little bit about Yakov. He's an amazing leader. He's known as the leading authority when it comes to attracting clients through dream referral relationships. And that's an important word, relationship. Yakov grew his business from 0 to multiple 6 figures as a direct result of building his dream referral network. And that led Yakov to creating the Connect and Profit System, a system that literally any business owner or thought leader can use to attract their dream clients and grow their revenue by building their dream referral, just like he has. So today, Yakov is absolutely committed to giving business owners like all of you a new way of adding 6 figures or more to their revenue and attracting their perfect clients. He and his team especially enjoy working with entrepreneurs and thought leaders who have a big vision, love working with their clients, and see their business as their way of making a positive impact on the world. And in my mind, that describes all of you. Yakov's vision for these entrepreneurs is to experience more freedom and attract the kind of clients that they're looking for without having to do any of the marketing activities they hate, but they've been told they should be doing. So with that, I'm going to turn it over to Yakov. And Yakov, do you mind starting us off by letting everyone know what to expect today and how they can receive the most value possible from this workshop?
Absolutely. And thank you so much for that great introduction. Really great to be here with everyone this morning here in the US and Arizona. I know we have people from all over the world. It's always exciting to be with you. And what I want you to do before I share my screen is I want you to imagine that we're all in the same room, right? I want you to imagine that we're doing an in-person workshop, right? Because that's going to be the vibe of what we talk about today. And I want you to be fully present throughout because we're going to cover a lot of ground, a lot of really interesting things that you can use to grow your business. So you're going to see me share my screen here in a moment. And as we get started, as Linda mentioned, this workshop is called How to Add 6 Figures or More to Your Revenue by Building Your Dream Referral Network. We'll get into what Dream Referral Network means in a few moments. And this is going to apply to you no matter what type of business you're in, even if you have a tiny email list, even if you hate networking, and even if no one literally has heard of you or your business before. Okay, we're going to look at the ultimate hack for finding the clients that you're looking for. So this workshop is specifically for you if you're a coach, expert, thought leader, or professional services provider. I know we have a lot of really amazing businesswomen here, a lot of really amazing businesses, and this is going to specifically apply to you. Okay. This is for you if you'd much rather be working with your clients than on your marketing and lead generation. Okay. As a coach, expert, thought leader, or even professional service provider, there's a good chance that you love the work you do. You love being in your zone of genius, but you're not too thrilled about working on marketing and finding clients. Okay. So I'm going to show you how to get past that, right? In the hack that I discovered to personally grow my business as well. And this is for you if you hate feeling like you're chasing potential clients, or you're having to annoy people, or you're having to be pushy to make a sale. I know a lot of people, especially coaches, experts, thought leaders, hate that feeling. There's an ickiness to it, right? So we're going to talk about how to alleviate that and do it in a way that feels much more natural and aligned to you. You're going to see through these strategies, it's a bit of a different energy that you can tap into, right? And this is for you, like Linda mentioned, if you want to attract all the clients you want without marketing or advertising. I know that's a big claim, but I promise you, by the time we're done today, you're going to start to see the vision for how you can do that in your business. And it's also for you because I know a lot of you have heard of the idea of building a referral network. You know, it's not a new concept. However, you may be intrigued by the idea, but not really know how to do it. So I'm going to walk you through the system for doing that. That's going to be unlike anything you've ever heard before. And this is also for you if you want a proven system, something you can tap into that's going to work in your business for getting results. That's what we're talking about today. So here's what to expect. We already touched on proven strategies. You're going to hear things that actually work on planet Earth that I've personally implemented, that our clients have implemented, and that you can use as well. BS proof content, not here to do a bunch of fluff. We're going to make this highly interactive as well. So you're going to see as you go through, I'm going to ask you to write some things down, do some things with us. You're going to start to see the picture of how this applies to your business. And you're going to be introduced to a new way of thinking about finding your dream referral partners, cultivating those relationships, and making that into a system. So I want you to, anything you've heard about joint ventures or building your referral network, I want you to let go of that right now and really be present and with us and pay full attention here for this workshop, because I think you're going to love this new approach to it. Okay. We're also going to do something called spotlights, where a couple of you are going to have the opportunity to receive some personalized coaching right here on this workshop. And a little later, I'm going to ask for volunteers. But what's really cool about these spotlights is you're going to get a chance to really see how these strategies apply to your business. And everyone else who's not in the spotlight, usually the biggest ahas and takeaways come from that part of the workshop. And this is a pitch-free workshop. So nothing for sale, not going to be offering any fast action bonuses, none of that gimmicky shit, okay? We're going to instead be talking about how you can apply this to your business. And obviously, I do this as a business. So for those of you who want to take that next step, we'll talk about how to do that later. And I'm going to go ahead and even give you that link right now, connectandprofit.co/LG. There's going to be a chance to apply for a consultation later. So in case you get disconnected or something, go ahead, jot that down so you have that link. Okay, so when it comes to receiving the most value possible, okay, close all your other windows. I want you to be fully present, have a pen and paper ready to take plenty of notes. And we're going to have plenty of time for Q&A here at the end. So if you have questions throughout, just drop them in the chat box, or better yet, write them down so we can answer them here live. Because a lot of people's biggest breakthroughs, biggest aha moments also happen during the Q&A, okay? And we talked about being fully present, and stay with us the whole time. It's going to be action-packed today. So at this point, very quickly, I'm going to share a little bit about myself, because I know whenever I go to a training or a workshop as a lifelong learner, which I know all of you are as well, I'm always a little curious, who is the person sharing this information with me? What qualifies them as an expert? And where did their perspective actually come from, right? So what I want to share with you today is I've always wanted to own my own business. And I know some of you have felt the same way. You've always had the calling to work for yourself, be your own boss, have that freedom, have that lifestyle. And I know some of you were kind of bit by that bug later in life. For me, as a child, I grew up in Atlanta, Georgia. Family immigrated from the former Soviet Union, I always had this desire to start my own business. So I don't know why, it was like this intuitive thing that I just had to do it. And so I did. I went into business full time back in 2016, left my sales job and started a LinkedIn consulting business where we worked with people specifically on LinkedIn marketing and attracting clients through LinkedIn. And then the business was going okay. And you know what happened? Boom, hit a wall, right? Hit a wall and I felt stuck. And some of you may be here right now. Some of you may have been here before, where I realized my biggest problem was attracting the clients that I wanted to attract, right? And I want to explain what that means here. When we talk about lead quality problems, right? It wasn't that I couldn't generate leads. It wasn't that I couldn't get someone to say, okay, I'm interested in learning more. It was that they weren't the right people. They weren't the people who were aligned to work with me. And when you have low quality leads, what it does is it drains your time and your energy, right? This is where you feel like you're chasing people or having to convince people to work with you and walk in the door. And it's frustrating and it's exhausting. The other thing about lead generation, there's so many people talking about all the things that you should be doing in your marketing: Facebook ads, podcasts, YouTube videos, write a book, do this, do that. You know, it's just exhausting to think about it, right? So instead, what you have to understand that most of those things produce low quality leads, okay? It adds a lot more work on your plate. It's expensive to do paid traffic online. And you don't want to be the marketing whiz of your business, right? You want to be the person that works with your clients and creates that transformational result, okay? And when you have higher quality leads, all that becomes easier. Plus, if you're just going out there generating a bunch of random leads where a lot of them aren't qualified or aren't fully aligned or pre-sold on working with you, it's a lot more stressful because they're shopping on price. They're asking a lot of questions because they're not sure of themselves and they're not sure of you, and it creates more competition, okay? And the fact of the matter is, when you use traditional lead generation methods, and this is where you're going to start to really notice the difference, you have people that don't really trust you, right? It just makes selling and inviting people to enroll in your program so much harder, right? Because they don't know you from Tom, and there's a lot to build that trust. Versus through referral relationships, we're going to talk about something in a moment called trust transference, where that trust that you have for someone else that you're already doing business with, it translates over to that other person. And it makes it so much easier and more natural, really, to enroll the clients that you're looking for, okay? So I had this realization and I dedicated myself to figuring out a system for creating my dream referral network, for creating these dream referral partnerships. And I'll explain what that means for our context here in a moment. And what I discovered and what you're going to discover today is the fast lane to high quality leads. Okay. So let's redefine what it means to build your referral network first and foremost. Okay. So our definition here is going to be simple. Any business collaboration that leads to value and revenue. Okay, that's what we're talking about when it comes to building a referral network. Now, in some instances, it involves paying someone a referral commission or an affiliate fee. In a lot of instances, it doesn't, though. And a little later, we'll talk about some different ways to add value, right, that most people aren't aware of. But the most important thing is that you're constantly adding value for them, value for yourself, and value for that audience, for that client who you're serving. And there's not a one-size-fits-all approach. So you're going to hear about plenty of examples today, and the spotlights are really going to be great in making things granular. However, you have to understand every business is a little different here, and your strategy is going to vary depending on your business, depending on your ideal client, and depending on who your dream referral partners are. And the other concept that I mentioned a moment ago, trust transference, right? And for example, is something that's going to be very close to home. Linda and I are co-hosting this webinar, right? So most of you, I would imagine, before you came on this workshop, you had a relationship with Linda. And so one of the reasons that you're here and you're open to receiving everything that I'm going to share with you is that there's a transfer of trust, right? And you want to establish that with the clients that you're looking for as well. It's going to make everything so much easier for you. And again, as business owners, sometimes we have a tendency to create struggle for ourselves or want to do things the hard way, right? Where this is the way to really simplify things and free up more of your bandwidth, more of your time to put yourself in that zone of genius so you can work with your ideal clients, okay? And building your dream referral network sure is the most powerful way to attract the clients you're looking for and accelerate your revenue. And you can do it all without the marketing and advertising you've been told you should be doing. We're going to stop shooting all over ourselves today, okay? And some of my results doing this, I just want to make it very, very clear, right? Because I know there's people out there who take a course and then try to reteach a course, and nothing wrong with that, but I've actually implemented this stuff in my own business and done it on planet Earth. Some of my results as a result of building my dream referral network, I've been able to produce more than $350,000 in direct revenue for my niche business, starting from zero that no one had ever even heard of. Okay. Been able to receive thousands of dollars in free publicity while appearing on numerous media outlets as a result of using this connect and profit system that we're going to be talking about. Spoken on stages across the US and even Australia. Right before COVID hit, I was visiting Australia and I was able to speak to a couple of audiences of entrepreneurs and full rooms and do a couple of seminars just because of using this connect and profit system, right? So you can use it from anywhere and be able to build dream referral relationships with people from all over the world, which is really fascinating. And when COVID did hit, I entered a brand new sub niche and within a few short months became known as a leading authority within that sub niche because of those dream referral relationships that we're going to be talking about. Okay. And as a result, over the years, I've been able to generate thousands of highly qualified leads without spending a dime on advertising. And when you start to use this system, and you may not need thousands of qualified leads, a few hundred may be all you need to get your business to where you want to go. But regardless, you're going to be able to do this without annoying people, without sending cold messages to people, and without spending a dime on advertising. Okay. And I just want to make it really clear, we're not talking about getting a bunch of likes, comments, followers. I think all that stuff is cute. We're talking about results that go to your bottom line today. Okay. So as we get started, here's some myths to be aware of, right? Here's some things that you may have heard before about building your referral network that you may have been led to believe that I want to share with you that aren't true. Okay. So you may have been led to believe that you need to have a big email list or be well known to build dream referral relationships, right? Especially in the coaching space, right? Hey, you need to build a big list, be well known. Otherwise, you can't build these referral relationships, right? You may have heard that before. Reality is it's not true. You can build lucrative referral relationships even if you have a tiny email list, right? When I was getting started, I had 0 people on my email list. And yet, if you figure out, and we're going to talk about this a little later, how you can create value for those dream referral sources, they're going to promote you and your offer to your ideal clients. Okay. Perfect example. Right when COVID hit, a gentleman in the real estate investing space, he reached out to me. He had a huge email list. At the time, almost no one on my list was in that space. And we did a lucrative partnership that resulted in more than $10,000 in direct revenue from that one webinar for both of us, right? And it was because I had something of value to his people. And we'll unpack that a little more a little later here. Myth number 2, you need to have fancy infrastructure. You need to have a 37-step funnel and a crazy autoresponder and OTOs and all that stuff. No, you don't. That's just not true. People say that to sell you stuff, right? They overcomplicate it. So the reality is this, it's about reaching more of the right people in the simplest way possible, right? To really do this, you're going to be surprised. You don't even need an opt-in page, right? For some of you, you don't even need that fancy infrastructure. And I'll explain what I mean a little later. Okay. Myth number 3, you have to network and build lots of relationships. So I don't know about you, but for me, I'm a bit more of an introvert. Okay. So when I hear about networking and having a bunch of calls on my calendar just to network, I feel kind of like this. I just want to, I just want to hide, right? I don't want to have a bunch of those networking conversations. The reality is it's much better to be selective, right? You're better off talking to 2 or 3 people who are your dream referral partners who you can hit it off with and actually create that business relationship with than talking to 15 people and just having virtual coffees with people, right? It's better to be specific. It's better to be selective. And we'll talk more about that here in some of the spotlights as well. And myth number 4, it may sound like it's time consuming, like it takes a lot of time to do this. You're already really busy. How are you going to find the time? Well, the reality is this. When you have the system in place, now the setup takes a bit of time. That's why when we work with people, we actually do the setup for them. But when you have the setup in place, finding your dream referral partners through LinkedIn, through some of these other sources that we're going to talk about, it takes less than 20 minutes a day and it can be automated without looking automated. So the reality is this is about building a system rather than a one-off task that just adds to your to-do list, right? We don't want that. We want a system that you can use for growing your revenue and building these dream referral partnerships. So as we do that, I'm going to walk you through a little exercise here that's going to start to really put things into perspective and set the tone for the rest of this workshop. And it's called your Connect and Profit Math. Okay. So actually do this with me because I want to see what your numbers are. Okay. So we're going to start to identify who your dream referral partners are. And our definition today of your dream referral partner is going to be very clear and concise. Your dream referral partners, they're not the people who maybe one day can send you a client. These are the people, and this is the litmus test to use, right? When we want to be selective, we want to have really specific litmus tests. These are the people or businesses in your space who can each send you 3 or more potential clients every month. Okay, so make sure you're aware of that definition. Again, these are the people or businesses in your space who can each send you 3 or more potential clients every single month. Okay, this is what we're talking about building. We're talking about building a network of these people and businesses. Now, if you're wondering, well, Yakov, how do I identify these people for my specific business? Don't worry, we'll get there. We'll talk about it in a few minutes. So let's do the math, right? So I want you to think about your average deal size. And here's what we mean by that. So if you're offering a 90-day package, whatever that number is in terms of revenue, if you usually work with people on a monthly retainer and they stay with you for 12 months, whatever that number is, or maybe you're going to look at your yearly value of a customer, right? Whatever that number is in your business, I want you to jot that number down. Now, if you're still working on your offers and your price points, just kind of guesstimate, write down what feels right, based on where you're at. But you need to put down a number here, right? So average deal size, jot it down real quick. Okay, cool. For example, here, we're going to use 5,000, right? Just as an easy round number. So now we're going to think about, okay, let's say your average dream JV partner, your average dream referral partner, let's say they on average send you 3 potential clients per month. Now that doesn't mean that each of those clients are going to enroll right away, right? That doesn't mean that, but these are high qualified leads who can potentially do business with you. So let's say out of those 3 potential clients that they send you every month, let's say 2 of those enroll within 30 days. Let's just do that conservatively. That's what I've seen as a pretty reasonable enrollment percentage. Again, it can vary depending on businesses, but let's say just 2 out of those 3 people every month, you're getting 2 additional clients every month from it, right? So now take that number that you wrote down earlier, your average deal size, and just go ahead and multiply that by 2. Okay. In our example here, if we look at 5K as the average deal size, now we're talking about $10,000. Okay. And the final piece of this, looking at yearly value, right? We're going to take that number that you just got and we're going to go ahead and we're going to multiply that number by 12. Okay. So what this means in our example here, if someone's average deal size is $5,000 and they're getting 2 new clients, we're talking about one dream referral relationship. They're getting 2 new clients from it every single month. Over the course of 12 months, that's an additional $120,000 in revenue. So I'm going to grab a sip of water. I want you to let me know right now in the chat box what your number was, right? So in this example, again, we're going to take your monthly increase in revenue and multiply that by 12. And just let us know in the chat box. Again, the math doesn't have to be perfect, doesn't have to be precise, but just the number that you got. So I'm going to grab a sip of water as you do that here. All right, let's see what we've got. So Precious has $84,000. Awesome. Jerry has $684,000 annually. Nita, $336K. Awesome. Bridget, $86,400. Right. So these are some great amounts, right? And if you think about, people are smiling here, which is kind of cool. Like, okay, what would adding an extra $336,000 or $120,000 over the course of 12 months, what would that mean to you, right? It's a lot, right? It could really change how you live, how you run your business, and really be a game changer for you. Now, I want you to do this, right? Because this is where we want to get conservative, right? Let's just imagine that the number that you got, okay? Let's just imagine that you completely, whatever reason, these expectations aren't met, and you only get 25% of that, right? So let's imagine, Joan, for example, 240,000, divide that number by 4, right? And really conservatively, even if this projection is 75% off, you're still looking at adding an extra $60,000 in her case in revenue, right? Nita, it's still an extra $84,000, which is a nice chunk of change, right? For just about anyone, right? So that's what we want to keep in mind. That's why this system is so important. And that's just one dream referral relationship. So I wanted to give you that math to set a frame here and set some context for you, right? So whatever your number was, think about what it would mean to you, right? And as you think about implementing this in your business, really tie that in because this is really, really important. So let's look at the 5-step connect and profit framework, right? So It's a 5-step system. I'm just going to be upfront with you. We could talk about each of these steps for hours, right? Obviously, we're not going to do that. We want to be mindful of our time. We're going to focus on 3 specific things, okay? And that's what we're going to really talk about and hone in on during some of our spotlights today. Okay, so this is the framework, just so you see the visual, right? In the middle is adding 6 figures or more to your revenue, right? That's the outcome here. That's the desired result that, I would like to see each of you be able to create here in the next 12 months, right? And this is the framework. This is the system that once you implement creates this result, right? And we're going to focus today on this part, and this part most specifically. We'll touch up on these other things as well. Okay, so it starts with the vision, right? It starts with understanding what is your connect and profit vision, because it's a little different for every business. Okay, and there's some variables, some factors that we're going to look at, right? So it starts with understanding, in your case, who your dream referral partners are, right? Who are the people or the businesses who can very realistically send you 3 or more clients every month, right? For example, again, just real easy example, Linda Fisk, who, she's one for me, right? That's one of the reasons why we're doing this workshop, because I'm practicing what I preach. Finding them, okay? So you need a system for finding your dream referral partner. Right. So one of the ways to do it is to build hyper-targeted lists on LinkedIn. I'll just talk about a couple other ways to do it here in a moment. So you can see using LinkedIn, here's one list. There's 1 million plus. This isn't as targeted as you're going to be. Speakers, authors, those types of folks. Here's another list, executive coaches, 180,000 plus. You can build these types of lists in minutes. Here's another one, 10,000 people kind of in the conscious space, right? So when we talk about LinkedIn, there's a few different ways to build a list there. And, I want to, before we do the spotlight, I want to drill down on this key point, right? Because it really, at the end of the day, you want to have, in most businesses, between 100 and 300 dream referral partners that you can identify pretty quickly, right? And you don't need thousands of potential referral partners, right? We want to get out of the scarcity there, but we want to look at people who very clearly there's a good chance that they're already doing business with your ideal clients, right? So LinkedIn is one way to find them. You can use the Sales Navigator search. You can use the free search, entering different keywords. The key thing though, like for example, if you're searching on LinkedIn, is to drill down on, are they actually established in business, and are they doing enough business to be that dream type of referral source? Okay. Some other ways where you can find your dream referral sources, because LinkedIn, for those of you who are offering a B2B service, it's a great place to find your dream referral sources, right? Another way that you can look at LinkedIn is you can look by associations, different businesses, that type of thing. Okay. So LinkedIn is one. For some of you, it's going to be Facebook. For some of you, it's going to be people who have Facebook groups or podcasts, right? So being able to look on iTunes, for example, right? Or even one trick that I like to do is you can sometimes look on Amazon and see who's written books on this topic and who's actually got a business behind that book, right? And you can find that person's information, right? So finding your dream referral partners is fairly easy to do when you know what to look for. When you don't know what to look for, or the specific categories, it becomes a little more challenging. We'll do a spotlight on this in a second. And you also want to avoid the gatekeepers, right? Because let's say, you found your dream referral partner. If your message never reaches them, right? If your invitation to at least have that referral conversation never reaches them, then that doesn't do you or them any good, right? And we're going to talk about getting that delivered and what the best ways are to do that here in a few moments as well. So what I want to do right now is I'm going to grab a sip of water and I'm going to give you an example of unique angles, okay? And when we talk about unique angles, in most businesses, there's at least 3 starting angles. And when we work with people, one of the first things we do is identify their specific angles for dream referral partners, right? So what we're going to do, if you'd like to volunteer, we're probably going to have time to do a couple of these spotlights here, okay? What the spotlight is going to be, we're going to really hone in on this for your specific business. So if you'd like to volunteer, go ahead, drop us a line in the chat box. First 2 people that volunteer, that's who we're going to work with today. And if we have time, we might do a third, but go ahead, let me know in the chat box. I'm going to grab a sip of water and then we'll do the first spotlight here. It's hot here in the desert. I'm in Arizona, so we drink a lot of water. All right, let's see who we've got. Okay, so we've got a lot of volunteers, good energy in the group. Let's see. All right, Emily Braun is ready, so she's going to go first, and then Nita, you're going to be up next, and if we have time, we'll also do Karen Olson. So Emily Braun, let's see if we can get you on my screen here. So I'm gonna be able to see you as well. So you looks like you've already unmuted yourself, and let me see. There's okay. So Emily, are you with us? Can you hear me?
Yes, I'm here. I'm looking for my unique angles or unique angles of my business.
So we're going to be intentional here, Emily. Okay. So we're going to be intentional in talking about, okay, the specific angles for your business. So I'm going to ask you a couple questions and then we'll get into it here. Right. So really quickly, 60 seconds or less, summary of what your offer is and who you're working with in your business.
My business is helping to find destination, create personal plan and customize solution for life, work, and retirement overseas based on a customer specific situation, budget, desired lifestyle, connecting with reliable professionals abroad. And I'm working with such countries as Mexico, Costa Rica, Belize, Nicaragua, Portugal, Spain, Italy, Bulgaria, and list will be developed.
Okay, so that's a lot. So I want to drill it down. So what are you, if you could summarize it in a few sentences, you're connecting people with experiences abroad. Is that what you're saying?
First of all, I'm providing consultation. I'm helping to build step-by-step plan and connecting them with reliable professionals, real estate brokers, immigration lawyers, and other professionals.
Okay, wait. So
and destination.
Let me stop you here because I want to make sure that we get really concise. So basically professionals come to you who are interested in moving abroad and you connect them with the people in those places who offer services like real estate brokers, immigration attorneys, that type of thing. Is that correct or not quite?
Not exactly. It's a second step. First step, I'm actually a concierge. I'm helping people to find the destination because people often don't know what is better for them.
Sure.
Based on their situation, we are defining the country, and when country is clear, I'm connecting with professionals in this country.
Gotcha. And so are they just wanting to go to the destination kind of for vacation or to live or what?
Relocation.
Relocation, perfect.
Full-time relocation.
Got it. Awesome. All right. So that's what you're doing. And, you know, when it comes to your ideal client, someone who you want to work with, is it someone who's usually kind of a business professional? That sounds like the person who would want a concierge for this. Is that about right? Or is it someone else?
Actually, my business at this point, one-to-one, B2C, and I'm working for baby boomers, 50 plus professionals who are looking for retirement options or remote workers who already have experience in looking to remote places overseas.
Okay, so let me stop you. So one of the challenges that I hear, right, because those are a little bit different categories of people, right? So let's just, for our example here, let's say we're talking about professionals who are looking at retirement options, who have some money, right? So to work with you. Let's just drill down on that list for this example, okay? So when we talk about those professionals, we want to start to think about your unique angles. Who are these professionals already doing business with, right? Who they have relationships with, right? Because, you know, when it comes to you attracting the clients that you want to attract, what would you say some of your biggest challenges are right now?
So actually to find the people who are looking for my services.
Mm-hmm. And here's what's interesting about what Emily's sharing. I want to share this with everyone too, especially those of us who are coaches, thought leaders, experts, consultants. Oftentimes people could use your services, but the problem is they don't know what they don't know, right? They may want to do this. They may want the outcome, but they may not know, Emily, that a business like yours exists or that it's for them, right? So they may not be Googling, hey, concierge for relocation. They're probably not searching that, right?
Yes.
So that presents a bit of a challenge. And that's why when we talk about your unique angles, let's just say you're wanting to work with more people who are going to be retiring, right? So I'll give you one potential angle right now for a dream referral source, right? And this just kind of comes to mind. And, you know, I have a thing where I've been doing this for so long, I just instantly kind of get these ideas. But one of those things is financial advisors, right? People who help people retire on the financial side, right? So let's say, Emily, in your situation, what you would do, one of your top three angles would be, okay, who are the financial advisors or wealth advisors? Let's say, you know, you were in the Toronto area. you could start with the Toronto area, but you could expand globally as well, who my ideal client already trusts, who they've been working with for years, where they have a vision for their retirement on the financial side. And maybe they're curious about where else they can live, what else they can do. Okay. And then it becomes a natural fit in that case for them to send you their clients, right? Does that make sense?
Yes, I even working with financial advisors. I identified this group a year ago, and I'm starting to connect with them. Not all of them actually eager, but yes, thank you. It's a point I'm working on already. Financial tax advisors and lawyers.
Okay, so you're working. So that's one angle, right? So you're working it. So let's go a little deeper here then. So what are your metrics, right? How many of these financial advisors have you connected with? How many meetings have you had? How many referrals have you got?
Not too many, because actually to get to these financial advisors, I need to get another referral from somebody who knows them.
Let me stop you because that's not true. Okay, because using LinkedIn, using email, using some of these other sources, right? You can reach those people directly with a hook. And we're going to talk about hooks in a second. And the hook, what it simply does, we'll talk about this in a second too. So we'll take a step back and then a step forward. But what the hook is going to do is for them to say, okay, Emily, I see some value here. My clients might be interested. How about you and I set up a meeting and see, you know, how you can help my clients, right? That's ultimately what you want them to do, don't you?
Yes, obviously, yes.
Does that make sense though? You see what I'm saying? Versus, you know, you don't need to make it complicated where, hey, I need a referral to this financial advisor. You can reach them directly through LinkedIn or through email and have a hook where they say, okay, I see value in what you do for my clients. Let's talk. Okay. And that's the kind of messaging as a part of the system that you're going to be creating. Okay.
Yes. Thank you.
Yep.
Bye.
And we'll go into the hook. So if you have more questions on your specific hooks, we'll talk more about that in a minute. I don't want to get ahead of ourselves here, but that's something for you to be thinking about, right? Because you've done a great job in already identifying your unique angle. And thank you for sharing. I think what you're doing is awesome. And you've identified it, but your challenge right now has been, okay, how do I get in front of these financial advisors who, first of all, are the right people, right? Because not all financial advisors are doing enough business to be your dream referral partners, right? So first of all, that. And second of all, what do you say to them? How do you approach them, which we're going to talk about in a moment, to actually get them to want to take a meeting with you and ultimately create that relationship, okay? So thank you for sharing. I think that was really insightful for everyone as well.
Thank you.
Yep. All right, so we're going to get into the next part of the system, and we're going to touch up on bulletproof positioning very quickly here, just to make sure we get through everything. So when you look at your bulletproof positioning, you're looking at your LinkedIn profile, your personal brand, and your overall online presence. Okay. And the litmus test, this is positioning, how you're positioning yourself in the eyes of potential referral partners and also potential clients, right? And, sometimes people will say, well, does it seem competitive, or might there be an overlap? As long as you differentiate yourself by at least 20%. So for example, when Linda and I had our first conversation, one of the things was, is there overlap, right? Because we both work with the same types of people. And what we realized was there really wasn't, because she's offering one type of service and we're offering a different type of service, even though the outcome, even though a lot of the results are with the same intention in mind, right? Which is amazing. That creates that perfect kind of synergy, right? So positioning is important. And you have to ask yourself, looking at, and we can go over this in our next spotlight here as well, looking at your online presence, looking at your LinkedIn profile. The number one litmus test is this. And I had a gentleman, I remember a while ago, I was doing an in-person seminar, and he updated his profile using some of these recommendations, and he kind of laughed. He came up to me at the break and he said, hey, guess what happened? This person just added me and they copied and pasted everything in my profile to theirs. And I kind of laughed and I said, well, guess what? First of all, that's flattering. Second of all, it doesn't make sense for them, right? Because his stuff was personalized. So the number one litmus test is this, can someone who's in your industry pretty much take your messaging and use it to talk about themselves and have it be relevant, right? If the answer is yes, then you want to differentiate a little more, right? Telling more of your personal story, your personal experience, what makes you unique, right? And that's going to be a big part of approaching people as well, which we'll talk about here too, right? So for example, one of those industries that's very commoditized is the mortgage space. And Matt, for example, one of our clients, he had a unique differentiation where, he was working with a specific type of people. He offered a specific service. And one of his referral sources, this one came from LinkedIn, set up an appointment with him. And he had 3 deals. He had 3 clients enroll to work with him within 6 weeks, right? And so that was one dream referral source. And that's how that relationship started. So the positioning is key, even in commoditized industries like energy, right? Where there's a lot of people essentially offering the same service. That positioning is really important for you to consider, okay? So let's talk about kind of the elephant in the room here, right? The hooks for booking meetings, right? Because at this point, I think you're understanding or at least thinking about some of your unique angles for, being able to, for being able to find those referral sources who you're looking for, right? So for example, with Emily, financial advisors came up, right? Really clear, good referral source angle, right? So the first thing that I want you to kind of forget right now is chasing, right? We're not talking about chasing people and bombarding them and annoying them and, hey, can you send me a referral? Hey, if you think of someone, I got something. That's not what we're talking about, okay? Instead, you want a hook. You want an approach that delivers instant value. Okay, where it becomes very clear in that first message to your ideal referral source, okay, what's in it for them, right? Why they should care, grabs their attention, and immediately says, okay, this can be of value to you and your clients, and you want to get them to say yes to meeting with you, okay? Because the first decision that you want your dream referral sources to make, okay, is to say, okay, this is an easy decision. I want to find out more. There's definitely some synergy here. Let's see how we can collaborate. Let's see how we can play ball. Okay. So what I want to do is we're actually going to go into our second spotlight. We're going to talk about the approaches, and then we're going to talk about the referral power offer, which, is a really great complement to that. So I believe we had, let's see who is second here.
Over here.
We had Nita. So Nita, let's go ahead and unmute you and let's go ahead. We'll get into the spotlight here. We're about to go deep, so I hope you're ready.
Okay, so I partner with business owners to transform and champion their business ideas into exponential financial success. I'll put it on the chat. How I do this is I've taken my 20 years of experience and put it into a framework. And because I've got accountancy background, it's more of a case of taking a balanced approach to success. And although success means to different people, it is working with business owners from different angles. So my 5 Ps are the persona of the business owner, putting the business owner first in terms of their mindset and what their aspirations are. Then I look at the people that they interact with, which includes their clients, but also their team, and making sure that they're taking them forward and supporting them. Then I look at their presence in the market in terms of make sure there's consistency, but also they are stamping their presence. And then I bring in my accountancy in terms of if they want to grow, do they have the pool of cash to actually grow with the capacity and invest? And then how to, what I call, spice up your profit so that you can make better and quicker decisions. What I say is getting smarter with the numbers. And although I have helped startups, I've found that with established business owners, there's probably more to do in terms of improving their processes, but also they most likely have the capital to invest in the first place.
Yeah, so it's cool. So one thing that you share that I think is really great for everyone to hear too is you've got a way to differentiate yourself as not just another business strategist or advisor. You've got a framework, you've got the experience, and it's very cool to lead with that, right? So it's going to make it so much easier for you to follow this process that we're talking about here because you've got something that's tangibly different and unique, and you articulated that very well. So I would want to clarify something. You're not looking for startups. You're looking for businesses that have, is it a certain revenue level or a certain number of employees in terms of someone who would be a great client for you?
So in terms of revenue, so if I can remember right, because I had this written down, but it's something like, I'd say £1 to £5 million worth of I say pounds because I'm in the UK, but whether it's pounds or dollars, so 1 to 5 million revenue per annum.
Cool. So 1 to 5 million, Mark. Okay, absolutely. And does it matter what vertical they're in? Does it matter what industry they're in, or not really? Okay.
No,
perfect.
I mean, people say narrow down your niche and everything, and I find with what I have, because I've had exposure to different industries, there's no preference, and also there's an advantage to that because it helps people. It helps me to think outside their box, because if I was to just focus on retail, then they kind of stay in that, whereas if I work in financial services, you find that financial services now need to be exposed to the retail because you've got retail banking. And so I don't want to narrow myself down to an industry, because it actually helps the businesses to think outside their industry and learn from each other.
Right. Yeah. So it's an interesting perspective, right? So, and it's one thing to follow the breadcrumbs, right? Because you've already worked with some clients, you've seen some patterns, the kind of transformation that you can create. So for what we're talking about here, it's going to be really valuable too, right? So in terms of unique angles, because I'm sure you've been kind of thinking along as we've been doing this, who's one type of business or type of person who you think would be a great referral source for you, who could easily send you 3 or more potential clients every month?
I would put it on the chat because it was Linda. But it is, I always find that, the people that I'm looking for are also looking for me. And so it is a case of, referrals that are talking to those established business owners that, want to broaden their network and also, as I said, finding someone to help them with. So the answer to your question would be, it is people that have got a wide network, I'd say.
Okay, so that's a bit broad. We want to narrow that, right? So, when I listen to you talk, and what I really think about is, we can talk about associations, right, that they're a part of. We can talk about people who lead masterminds, for example, right? Because plenty of those types of businesses. And so let's talk about your hook, right? Let's talk about, let's say, I'm just going to kind of riff and, flow with this, right? So let's say we'll pinpoint one specific person for our discussion here, right? Let's say someone's name is John. They run a mastermind for financial advisors, right? Or people who are independent financial advisors. Let's say John lives in the UK, just to make life easier. And let's say that mastermind, people are investing $30,000 to $50,000 per year to be there, right? And of course, one of the reasons those people are coming into the mastermind is to grow their businesses, right? Of course. So when it comes to your hook, and this is going to be a really interesting example, let me ask you this, and then I'll give you some ideas on it as well. If you were to approach John, right, the person running this mastermind or someone on his team, the very first thing in your hook that we have to think about is how can you provide a unique angle of value to his people, right? That's also not competitive, right? Because if it seems competitive or it seems like, something might be undermining what they do, they're not going to want to play ball, right? So I'll ask you, and then I'll give you some insights on that as well, and we'll build upon that. So what do you, given that scenario, that one specific person, how would you answer that?
So John's obviously helping them in terms of, did you say growing their business? Yeah,
growing their business. They're in this mastermind. They want to, they're making a certain amount of money. They want to make more money.
Okay, so John's going to be talking about the different strategies and everything. And so I would actually dive into one of my pillars, where I can kind of actually bring in the accountancy experience, or more of the technology experience in terms of using technology to help them grow, to automate and become more efficient. So it would be one of the areas that they would cover as a strategy, and for me to actually deep dive into that to kind of say, if you look at your systems, are they fully integrated?
Perfect. So let me stop you, because that's exactly the right way to look at it, right? So when we talk about, and so when you're approaching John, and I'm going to answer the question that's on people's minds, well, do I approach John through LinkedIn? Do I do it through email? Do I send him a DM on Facebook, Instagram? Listen, it doesn't really matter. The truth is, it really doesn't matter. You could fill out an inquiry form on his website and he'll get back to you, right? It's getting the message delivered, right? And sometimes with someone like that who is a heavy hitter and is busy, the first outreach can come in multiple places, right? But it's the same approach, right? So how can you add value to John? Well, first of all, there's a couple of different frameworks that I'm going to give everyone for how you can add value, right? And it's going to vary by business, but with Nita, this becomes very clear. One of them is the problem solution framework, right? So hey, he's teaching people how to grow their business. And as a result, it's creating another problem because maybe they have accountancy problems or technology problems, right? So articulating that specifically in that first message, whether it's through LinkedIn, email, the form on the website, hey, I noticed this. First of all, acknowledging where they're at, notice this. Do your clients ever have challenges with this because of this, right? Do your challenge run into technology problems with their growth? And then it's like, hey, here's where I think there might be some synergy and why this might make sense for you, right? And now you're listing out a few of the quick reasons you can give them value, right? So in your case, one of the things that you can do, John only has so much bandwidth to teach stuff, right? To present content. He may know about technology, but he may not want to teach it, right? So you're saving him time. And right for everyone, who's with us right now, write these down because I'm going to riff on some ways you can give value no matter, what business you're in, no matter who your dream referral partners are. Number one, saving them time, right? Everyone wants to save time. Number two, making their life easier, right? Just anything that makes their life easy. If you add more work on their plate, they don't want to do the work, especially if they're really a dream referral partner. Linda Fisk doesn't want to do more work in her day. She's like, no, thank you, right? Make it easy for them, right? Number three, third way is money, revenue, additional revenue, right? So people ask me, well, do I need to, give people a referral commission? Do I need to, provide a spiff or an affiliate commission? Depends on who that dream referral partner is. I'll tell you this though, for someone like John, who's, he's probably doing fine on the revenue side. It's more of the cherry on top, not the ice cream sundae, right? Because he can go and he can earn some additional revenue through it. But if his clients aren't getting value, right, his real revenue is in keeping those clients happy, keeping them engaged, getting more referrals for himself. So that's another way you can add value, right? Solving a challenge for them, having great content. Another way to add value is how can you get John more exposure, right? So even if you have a tiny email list, you may have contacts who are financial advisors, right? Or you may have followers on social media where you can post and give a shout out to John, right? So those are all a few different ways to give someone value. And folks, I really want to hone in on this point. It's not necessarily about the money first, right? It's not about the money first, because if you go and say, hey, I can make you a boatload of money, let's do a deal, they're going to run the other way, because these dream referral partners, people who are actually legit, their reputation is more important, right? They're looking for something long-term. It's not about, hey, can I make a quick buck? They know how to make a quick buck, okay? So Nita, in your case, someone like that, you really want to be selective though. And this is because it's easy to say, oh, on LinkedIn, I can find thousands of these people who supposedly have podcasts or masterminds. Really be selective. Like in your case, you probably want to drill it down to 50 to 100 people or businesses, like seriously, okay? And then having more depth in how you approach them. And, one of the questions I get asked a lot too is, with the approach, what happens if they don't respond, right? Or what happens if they don't engage? And the truth is, often the very first thing is getting the message seen, right? And that's why I'm not like, oh, you have to deliver it through LinkedIn or through email. You can automate that. That's part of it. But getting the message seen, I'd rather get a very ugly no than no response at all, because at least I know they've seen it. At least I know they're aware and we've kicked things off, right? So Nita, that's your approach. It's to have. And when we talk about templates, right, this is a really important point too. There's not a one size fits all template. I can't say, okay, if you follow this template, people are instantly going to want to book that meeting with you. But what I can say is this, right? In your case, it's being specific, it's being concise, it's in that initial message. They need to see bullet points, what's in it for them, how they're going to get value. And then the ask is simple. The ask isn't, hey, let's do a deal. Hey, you want to have me speak at your group? The ask is, how do we continue the conversation, right? What's the easiest way to do it? And see what makes sense for them. It might be that they have a team member who handles partnerships, right? It might be that you're going to talk with the CEO, right? It might be that they want to see a one-pager, an example of a talk you've done, for example, right? So it's more important than, hey, specifically, what do I say or how do I say it? It's like, how do you meet someone where they're at, right? And how do you make sure you're talking to the right person? So that's when it comes to hooks. And, for example, speaking of the financial space, right? Daryl, their referral sources are bankers, and he's using the system, and he's doing a lot of this through LinkedIn because that's where those people are at. And his wife is booking a lot of meetings, a lot of calls with these referral sources through this type of process. So Nita, now we're going to shift and we're going to talk about your referral power offer, right? And this is something that it's like a toolbox that you want to have, right? This is a toolbox that you need for building these relationships. So let's say, and this is for everyone else too, is let's say you have a meeting with someone who's your dream referral partner, right? First of all, it's natural to be a little nervous, right? Especially they don't know you from Tom. It may feel like they're so much further ahead. They've got 100,000 people on their email list. You have 100. What's a person to do, right? So first of all, we want to understand there's going to be a value gap initially. Right? There's going to be a value gap, but the reality is they've taken the meeting. The reality is they're open to at least exploring the opportunity, right? So how do you overcome the value gap, right? And it's to go into it having something that's turnkey yet customizable, right? So Nita, for your example, right? Let's say, you and I are talking, I'm your dream referral partner, right? And we, we're having a conversation. This is what a lot of people get wrong, right? A lot of people go into it and they just try to network, right? They're like, oh, I want to find out more about you. Let's kind of shoot the breeze, see what you're about. And then let me know if this sounds familiar. A lot of you may have done this before. You have a great conversation and someone says, well, if I think of someone, I'll definitely send them your way and never hear from them again. Now, why does that happen? Let's talk about that. Because it's not turnkey and easy for them, right? There's not a clear next step. You're not giving them the structures. So Nita, in your case, right, if I were your dream referral partner and obviously I had some of your dream clients, and maybe you've done this before, and we can start with where you're at. What would be the offer that you made me? And I can't hear you, so.
Sorry. I lost my train of thought then from that distraction. I suppose it would be case I'll be asking you the question to say, are there areas that you feel that you need to grow, that you find that are your concerns, that are your obstacles? And kind of go from there so that it's more about.
So not quite, right? So if you're talking to John, for example, right? Because you're talking with someone who's a potential referral source, not a client, right? So you do want to find out a little more about how they structure, let's say, their mastermind, what some of their challenges that their clients have, right? So the conversation isn't about them. It's about their clients, their email list, people in their universe, right? So versus, if you were talking to a potential client, it's asking them questions about themselves, identifying their challenges. Here, it's like, what are the challenges that their clients are experiencing, right? That's part of it. The second piece is based on those challenges, you want to have a couple different tools in your tool belt, right? You want to have something that's completely turnkey, where it takes like zero work for them, or it's just like copy and paste an email, for example. Or if they want to be a little more in depth, like we're doing here with Linda, this is something that's happening live, obviously, right? And this is something where, we're showing up, we're being present. So in your case, what you need is a hook that's easy, that solves a challenge for their people, or that gets their people interested. So let's stick with accountancy as your specific thing. So let's say you identify that as a good synergistic in, right? So one thing you can do for them, and this is where you ask people, this is where you kind of gauge where they're at, because one thing you can do for them is, let's say you had a quick guide or a quick video on some ways that they can improve their accountancy as they grow their business, right?
Yeah, actually, I've got 11 ways that you can unlock your hidden profit in your business.
Okay, that's cool. Yeah, 11's a lot. That sounds juicy. Okay, so 11 ways. And I'll give you one other thing. If it's specifically a financial advisor, right? if you put the word financial advice, 11 ways any financial advisor, it instantly becomes more of a fit, even though it's the same concept, right? It's funny how that works. So that's one offer that you can make John. So what does John want, right? Would that give him value if he shared the guide, right? And in this case, we want to see, okay, what does he really want, right? If he shares the guide, what's in it for him? Yeah, he's providing value, gives him another touch point. He's building the relationship with his clients. And, maybe with that, you say, okay, and everyone who opts into the guide or requests the guide, everyone who becomes a client, my average ticket size is 30,000, we're also going to give you a referral commission. Maybe that's part of the deal here, because you want to sweeten the pot, right? It needs to feel easy, and it needs to feel like just awesome and just like really easy to do, and just all upside and mitigating the risk, which is also important. So that's one way you might be able to play. Another way is, and something that would probably produce the most revenue for you, the most immediate revenue is, let's say he has a monthly mastermind call. You're a guest speaker. You talk about the 11 ways specifically, do a live training for people who are interested in learning more, they can reach you, right? So that's another offer you can make him, but you've really got to listen to what people want, right? And on top of that, maybe you're also going to post 3 times on social media promoting his stuff, right? So it's customizing that offer, but going in, you need a super turnkey option, right? That, requires zero work on their side. And you also need something that could be more in-depth and more hands-on. And someone like John may want something that's more hands-on, more in-depth, more, enriching to his members, right? So it's having that referral power offer. And the key thing is, and I'll say this for everyone too, for getting to that yes, the perception needs to be, and the reality needs to be, that it's easy, okay? If it feels like they've got to do extra work, it's a no, right? And there also needs to be, at the end of that conversation, and we work with people on this too, because it's different for every business, as you can tell. At the end of that conversation, there needs to be a definitive plan in place. Okay, here's what's happening on this date. Here's the next action step versus, yeah, let me think about it. Maybe I'll send you someone if they're not sending you anyone, right? And that's one angle for you. And I know people are listening and watching, and it does really vary by business, which is okay, right? But Nita, in your case, that would be the starting point for that, and getting to that yes, right? And building those relationships. So, Lisa, for example, and again, with financial advisor, it's funny that, that's the road that we went down, but financial planner, this resulted in $90,000 additional revenue. It was similar. She had something that was evergreen, that provided value that he was able to share with his clients, right? And in your case, and before we get into the Q&A, I'll say a couple other things. It's, the snowball effect. So I can guarantee you, like a guy like John, if you speak in front of his group or if he emails for you, there's going to be people in his universe who also have business owners they work with and say, hey, Nita, can you do something similar for these people, right? So it starts to snowball, which is really, really powerful. And maintaining those relationships and having that automation in place to just kind of continue along, right? So does that make sense, Nita? Because and I know there's different angles for you and for other people, but I wanted to go a little deeper on one specific thing there.
Yes, because I've actually I'm attending a workshop where someone's talking about investing in real estate, and I'm thinking, it was actually just to support somebody that's actually launching the workshop, but I was thinking actually they could be people there that could be my potential clients, in which case it's just adding value and demonstrating your authority and that. So I like the way you've done that. It is a case, so I'm all for what it is, what's in for them, whatever I say, so what, so that am I adding value and everything. And good. Thank you very much.
Yeah, exactly. And it's about that specific hook for you too. If you go in talking about all 5 of those things, you're going to lose them, especially, it's the specific hook drilling down, and absolutely. So thank you for sharing. And before we get into the Q&A here, let's talk about your best next step. So I know we have several people here who are wondering, okay, how do I apply this to my business, right? So I'm going to give you a shortcut, because I know, the flaw that we all have is we're all human, right? So if we go to a workshop, we go to a seminar, we take a bunch of notes, and no matter what we hear, no matter how good the content is, no matter how handsome the presenter is, what happens is sometimes we forget. Sometimes we don't implement it, right? So if you want real results, if you want to actually implement this and use this to grow your business, here's your best and easiest next step, right? And this is really for you if you're tired of dealing with low quality leads and inconsistent cash flow and trying to figure out all the marketing that you've been told you should be doing. And you like this alternative to doing things. It feels more natural. It flows easier. Okay. This is for you if you want to attract more of your dream clients. It's for you if you want more time, less time spent working on your marketing, more time in your zone of genius, more time for the people and activities that you love. This consultation, though, is not for you if you're not serious, right? If you're not committed to actually implementing this and getting results, if you're just someone who wants to get more information and, because there's a difference between information and transformation, right? And I made the decision a little while ago in my business because I used to do a lot of little courses, little things like that. I said, you know what? We're going for transformation, not information, right? I don't want to give you information and knowledge. Let's actually create results within 90 days so that you start seeing some of these dream referral partnerships. So this is for you if you're committed to creating the result and you're someone who takes action. Okay. This is for you if you have a big vision for growing your business. So here's what's going to happen during your consultation. It's very straightforward. This is free to you. It's my gift to you for being on this workshop. And for those of you who are watching the recording, the link is still going to work. So go check it out. Here's what we're going to do, right? Easy structure. We're going to, first of all, it's going to be directly with me. So not someone on my team, not someone who's outsourced. It's going to be you and me, one business owner and another. We're going to start to identify your unique angles, your best opportunities for developing dream referral partnerships. Okay, we're going to do that first. Then we're going to uncover any challenges or roadblocks that may be standing in your way, things that are missing. Usually most people are missing the system or they're not seeing something. It's a big opportunity. We're going to be able to start unraveling that during our conversation. And then we're going to come up with your best next steps for growing your revenue by developing your dream referral network, right? And I just want to be really clear for those of you who at that point want to continue working together, happy to share with you, happy to invite you to continue that conversation, how we work with people. Okay. But regardless, I want you to get value during the conversation. It's not a sales pitch. I'm not a hardcore closer, dude. You hear about those types of people. I have zero interest in doing that. Okay. Instead, let's continue the conversation, continue to work together and talk about specifically how this applies to your business. So what you're going to do to go ahead and book your free consultation, you're going to go, and I'm going to show you here in a moment, connectandprofit.co/LG. That's the link that you're going to want to check out. So here's what that page looks like. So you're going to go to this page, picture of me here, and you're going to go and you're going to scroll, and there's a bunch of buttons here, and you can hit any of the orange buttons. So you'll click on the button, and as you do that, it'll take you to the page. It's loading here right now. There we go. It'll take you to this page. And then what you're going to do is you're going to want to scroll down to the page and book a time that works for you. Listen, you want to, in my experience, after being in a workshop like this, you want to get on the calendar sooner rather than later so you can retain it and you can really start to put this into implementation. So go ahead, book a time. We have some times available tomorrow, next week. That way you're not having to wait a while. And then what you'll do is you'll pick a time right here. You'll fill out the form so we can find out a little bit more about your business. And then you and I will get together on Zoom and we'll have the consultation. My recommendation is to do this right now as we're wrapping up the workshop so you can get a time sooner rather than later. Okay. So scroll down here, you'll hit the submit button, and then we'll talk one-on-one and we'll continue the conversation. Again, it's specifically for you if you're committed to getting results within 90 days. That's the transformation that we work